Good morning. It is. Oh, hold on. I got to mute my TV. Good morning. Welcome to the Boom and Bust Show. I'm your host, Bryce. I'm joined by Sully here to answer all your fantasy football questions. You know, I saw that we had a question in the chat, and then when I started the stream, the chat went away. So now I don't know where.
We do.
I don't see it in here. Do you? Is it on there for you?
It's on my comments. Yeah.
Weird.
It's from Z. It's from Z Smitty. I'll just read it, and if you can find it, throw it up there.
Yeah, go ahead. Read it.
He says, with Tank Dell out and Mixon out, do I go Komet or Schultz, Frymuth, or Ertz? And then he follows it up by saying, leaning Komet, but Schultz is interesting. McBride is his usual starter, but he's out. Just needs the best player available for this week. So he's picking between Komet, Schultz, Frymuth, and Zach Ertz.
This one is interesting because does Komet take a hit with Keenan Allen coming back? I think he might.
I think he might.
Because I know that you and Rick were a little bit down on Keenan Allen this year, but I think that Keenan Allen and Caleb might have the best relationship, like as a two.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Like Adunze kind of got going last week a little bit.
He did.
DJ Moore has been a little bit disappointing, but
he gets a lot of targets. I mean, he's averaging over 8 targets a week. So
yeah, their O-line is not as good as I think we would have hoped that it would be. So Caleb's kind of being a little bit more creative than probably the Bears or the Bears fans want him to be. Some interesting play calling in Chicago hasn't been that great. I thought Shane Waldron would be a lot better. Komet came alive last week in a big way. I think that's where I'm going to go. Just because I think that if Caleb needs to, he's going to look to the middle of the field. He's got 2 guys there now. So I'll lean Komet. I think Schultz is definitely interesting with Tank Dell out. With those 3 wide receivers in the lineup for Houston, I don't really want anything to do with Dalton Schultz or any other part of that offense the way it's currently constructed. That said, I think I'm going to stick with Komet and lean that way.
I almost want to look at Schultz because, I mean, they drafted Cade Stover from Ohio State, who he and C.J. Stroud do have kind of somewhat of a relationship. Schultz did have 96% snap percentage last week, which is pretty freaking high.
Yeah,
and he had 5 targets, so that's not bad.
It is, and so what did Dell have last week? Like 3 or 4 targets? I think he was banged up though.
Probably. Let's look. I mean, it was definitely he had 6 targets, so I mean he had a decent amount of targets as well. I mean, Stephon Diggs 8 as well. I guess Nico probably the only one that didn't get a ton of targets last week.
Let's look at my rankings for.
I mean, and it's a division game. Oh no, Nico had 10 targets. They threw a ton last week because they were down the entire game.
Yeah, I watched that entire game because they played Minnesota, and I've never seen C.J. Stroud look worse. So that might be a credit to Brian Flores' offense. One of my guillotine leagues, I started Stroud because he was my best quarterback, and I had everything that could go wrong went wrong. Ended up being chopped and eliminated by 0.26 of a point. So that was fun.
Gross.
But hey, one less league to worry about today. So I have Komet at 12 this week and Schultz at 17. I should probably move Schultz up since Dell is out, but at the same time, I'm going to roll with Komet.
I'll join you. I'll stick with Komet as well. Maybe that last week's really good start kind of maybe could spark him getting more targets on a consistent basis. Big body dude in the red zone. Seems like the Bears can move the ball too. So Caleb Williams. I know, I mean, people act like that he's supposed to come out the gate firing, but if you look at C.J. Stroud last year, he also started very, very rough.
Exactly.
What Jaden Daniels is doing is not normal. So it's like we can't compare that because what he's doing is insane. I mean, that's like comparing Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors. I mean, Malik Neighbors is blowing him out of the water, but it doesn't make him a better wide receiver just because.
And another quarterback you can layer into that same scenario is Jordan Love. Like, I know he wasn't a rookie last year, but in his first season, it was pretty ugly for about 6 weeks, and then he was like one of the top 3 fantasy quarterbacks the rest of the way. So there's time.
Yeah, he threw 52 times last week. Caleb Williams did, so that's a really good. I mean, you want that as a fantasy player.
Well, and you probably want 12 or 15 less if you're a Bears fan, but they can't seem to get the running game going. But I think they changed that this week. I think it's
bring in Roschon.
I think it's a Roschon time.
Yeah, about time. Bringing in Swift didn't really make much sense.
Terrible contract.
Yeah. Start Vikings defense versus the Packers, Saints defense versus the Falcons, the Titans defense versus.
Did we do Pedro's question? I think we just skipped right by it.
Oh shoot! Yeah, I did. I thought I had it. I thought I clicked it.
I
thought we answered that one, and I was assuming
we were just going on
Sorry,
about
Ray.
the Bears.
Give me one second, Ray. Guys, what are your thoughts on the Tampa Bay backfield? Need to play one point PPR White or Bucky Irving? Thoughts? P.S. Good info back from last week. What did we do last week?
I don't know. We might have got something right. Appreciate that.
We probably didn't pick Juwan Jennings enough last week. I know that for sure.
Right. I'm just about ready to go Bucky over Rachaad White now. So Bucky Irvin's averaging 6-point-something yards per carry, and White's averaging 2-point-something yards per carry, and it's the same damn old line. The PPR aspect of it, though, is Rachaad White. Like, I think what could potentially happen in Tampa is that Bucky becomes their early down guy, and Rachaad White remains their third down guy. So it's still close. I'd be looking to get maybe 10 points out of each of them each week, but I think that Bucky Irving is going to score, more likely to score than Rachaad White, because I think he's going to become their short yardage and kind of goal line back. So if I had to play one, which this says, I'm probably going to go with my gut and do Bucky Irving this week.
I'll be honest, I haven't really paid much attention to this backfield at all. I'm in like 12 leagues, and I don't own a single share of either of these players. And if I did, I wish it would be Bucky Irving at this point. I liked Rachaad White a lot last year, and I even said it in the preseason. I think he just gets a ton of PPR work, and he did.
Yeah.
But following that season, I knew was probably not going to happen.
He's just not a good runner, right? Like, he's excellent. He was the same at Arizona State. Like, he just can't run the football, but he was great. He's got great hands and great catching out of the backfield. So, like, put into context, I have a league with DeAndre Swift and Bucky Irving. I'm starting Bucky Irving this week over DeAndre Swift. That's kind of where I'm at with him.
Yeah, well, that's a good decision at this point. So,
yeah.
my advice would be to try and trade Rachaad White before his value continues to diminish. But since it's a PPR league, I'll start him this week over Bucky Irving, and then maybe go from there. If at this point Bucky either puts up the same amount or more points than him, starts getting the goal line work, you could probably feel comfortable moving on and starting him. But it looks like you're going to have a split backfield in that offense moving forward this season.
Yeah,
which is not ideal for fantasy.
No.
All right, Ray, back to your defense question. But Vikings versus Packers, Saints versus Falcons, or the Titans versus the Dolphins. And start one in a standard league, Ayuk, Jennings, or Deontay Johnson, 6 points per TD. So defense, does one stick out for you? It kind of does for me.
Yeah, I'm on the Titans this week.
Yeah.
I think that's just ugly down there in Miami. So, I don't
Ty Huntley starting today for the Dolphins,
which is probably an upgrade. And no offense to Skylar Thompson, but at least Huntley could get out of there and take off if things go awry. So,
and he does like to throw it deep, which is probably good for Tyreek again.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any quarterback that goes in that situation when you just start targeting him. But a mobile quarterback like that also tends to take sacks more, which could probably help the Titans defense. They don't really have the best edge rushers, but they have really good interior defensive linemen that can push the pocket back, which causes a lot of times these scrambling quarterbacks to scramble, potentially take sacks. But Titans defense is probably a top 5 to 6 defense in the league, but their offense will make them statistically worse because they can't stay on the field. So I'm comfortable starting that Titans defense.
What are you doing with the second part of this question?
It's Deontay Johnson for me. I mean, you got everybody coming back. I mean, both Kittle and Debo are back.
Yeah.
Ayuk, did you see, was it recently that he threw a temper tantrum or whatever, or got called out for wearing the wrong shorts at practice? I don't know.
He had a couple of uncomfortable drops in that last game, and I have a buddy who's a Niners fan, and he's thrilled that they paid him $30 million a year right now. And it's like, calm down, it'll be fine. But Deontay Johnson is inside my top 10 this week. I think he's gonna have a big week. I like him a lot.
He could be a league winner as well. I mean, if they continue with Andy Dalton and
I just traded him before last week. I'm not feeling so good about that.
Yeah, I'm in one league where I've got like Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, and then another wide Brown. So I end up making a trade for Deontay Johnson. I'm undefeated in that league, luckily. I've still got like Malik Neighbors.
That's impressive.
I've still got Malik Neighbors and like somebody else ridiculously good, but my running backs are disgusting. So, yeah, I traded for Deontay Johnson, put him in my last flex spot on a week-to-week basis. This is a guy I targeted all offseason. I targeted him in redraft leagues, things like that, because I thought that Bryce Young, he'd be a good guy for Bryce Young, but it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but Andy Dalton being back there, Deontay Johnson is a phenomenal route runner. The only thing he's really struggled with through his career are drops, but he's always been a target machine, even when he was with the Steelers prior to Kenny Pickett. So, yeah, he could be a league winner this year.
Dalton's the best thing that could have possibly happened to him. I think you and I were talking about it. It might have been on here or off air, but we're talking about guys like Gardner Minshew and Andy Dalton. They don't care anymore, right? Like they're getting paid good coin and they're just out there slinging. Flacco was the same thing last year. I love when those older dudes that just really don't give a shit.
Except for some reason, Jacoby Brissett, who wants to hold on to the ball and not just sling it.
I don't think Jacoby was ever a gunslinger, but I hear you.
I know, but it's like you're at this point in your career, you know what you are. Like just freaking wing it.
Yep.
I'd rather see you throw 3 touchdowns and 3 picks than see you throw for 140 yards, no touchdowns, no picks.
As a fan of a team, I agree 1,000%.
I mean, come on. Be at least more fun. I'm not going to be mad about it. I still want you to lose because I think next week is Drake May anyway, but we'll see.
We will.
Wide receivers are Debo, Hill, London, and Jigba and Mooney. Need 4 out of the 5. 3 wide receivers in the flex. Debo has me shaking in fear might be a decoy. So who are we sitting out of these 5?
Probably Mooney, but I hear you on Debo.
Man, I don't know. I Mooney at this point, I feel comfortable with Mooney, but it's not ideal to start London and Mooney. I get that. Yeah, I'm gonna sit Mooney as well, even though, I don't know. It could be. It's like I kind of like the Falcons' number 2 option, but who is their number 2 option? Is it Mooney or is it Ray McLeod? You know,
it's Mooney. It should be Kyle. It should be Kyle Pitts, but it's Mooney.
True, it should be Kyle Pitts, but it is. It is Mooney, but it seems like Kirk Cousins also really, really likes Ray McLeod, especially in the middle of the field. But when he's taking those shots deep, it is Mooney every week with the deep tries.
Mooney's a good wide receiver. I think
he's a perfect. Really, he is designed to be a number 2. I think that's perfect. It's a perfect spot for him. He has value this season. I do like him, but I'll sit him this week out of these options.
I will.
He's that guy that sucks to have to sit because he could blow up on that bench.
Yeah.
Half PPR, need 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, and a flex. So you got Kyron, James, Chuba, Jefferson. Okay, let's James and Kyron are locks in your lineup, right? Then we got Chuba, Jefferson. Okay, Jefferson's a lock. So we need one wide receiver and a flex. Out of Chuba, Jennings, Zay Flowers, JSN, Christian Kirk, Pittman, and Tucker. Trey Tucker? That makes sense.
So it's not Trey Tucker and it's not Michael Pittman. I'm just going to eliminate guys that I don't want it to be.
It's Zay Flowers for me as the second wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think I'm JSN on the second wide receiver. I think there's going to be a ton of throwing and yardage in that game against Detroit.
For the flex, you mean your flex is JSN or
yeah?
Okay, so you're doing Flowers and JSN.
I'm doing Cook and Kyron, like you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson and I'm going to go Jefferson, Flowers, and JSN. Whoever flexes.
Yeah.
But yes.
My flex is in between JSN and Pittman. I know Pittman has really no good argument other than I said it before the stream, and it's like guys like Pittman, when they're gone, when they're like disappeared for a few weeks, it's like then they just come out of nowhere. Like you got to get that, especially when your offense is struggling. You got to start getting your playmakers in play, and they did that with their running back Jonathan Taylor last week. But they've got to get Pittman going. It's just I think Anthony Richardson is a horrible passer.
I think Richardson might have. I think it's Joey Porter Jr. in his back pocket all day today. Like riding the ship is not something you do against the Steelers. That team is absolute trash, and they're 3-0 because their defense is probably the best in football.
They have the best pass rush and the best defensive player in football, if you ask me. TJ Watt is insane to watch. Dude just has every play. He might be better than his brother. That's the crazy thing.
Could be.
But I'm gonna. You know what? I think that Steelers kind of like get ahead today. I'm gonna go Pittman. It's probably the wrong pick, but I get a feeling, and Pittman's my feeling this week. I got 2 guys this week that I think have big bounce back weeks off of being bad for a couple of weeks or so far this season. That's Pittman Jr. and Mike Evans, I think, had really, really good weeks.
I'm with you on Evans. I'm just not there with you on Pittman yet, but I'm with you.
Every day, last time I said Mari Cooper was going to have a good week, he first play of the game, he scored a touchdown. So
I think
take that with a grain of salt. But I'm just saying that is.
I think I said he's terrible. He's going to suck this week because he's on the road. And then I'm like, before I could even sit down and get comfy, he'd scored.
And
it's like,
both of us last week were really big on Deontay Johnson. I feel like so we knew that we thought he would have a good week, and geez, Louise, did he?
Yeah.
All right, Calvin Ridley or Ramondre Stevenson? Does Ramondre bounce back against the tough Saints or San Fran defense, or does Ridley keep it going?
The San Fran defense is as tough as it once was, and I can't remember the name of the guy who hurt his bicep last week. He's out. I like Ramondre a lot to bounce back this week, and Calvin Ridley he's kind of in a bit of a precarious situation. Willis throws 4 touchdown passes a week, 2 to his own team and 2 to the other team. But is it DeAndre Hopkins or is it Calvin Ridley? I think Pollard's going to be more involved. I think Tajay Spears plays a little bit better. I'm worried about the passing game in Tennessee right now. I think Miami's good enough. I'm going to go with Ramondre mainly because I feel comfortable with how many more touches he's probably going to get guaranteed. And I think he bounces back. Like we said before we came on today, Ramondre's not going to have another game like he did last week. It's just not going to happen.
Well, it didn't make sense either. Like 6 touches or 6 rushing attempts. I don't know what.
Were they punishing him for fumbling?
They might have been, I guess. I don't know. That was even then. Like they're just getting completely and utterly dominated the entire game. So I don't know. They did get behind early, so I get it. But then they just kept going 3 and out and 3 and out and 3 and out. So
yeah.
Man, Matt Z is going to make my brain hurt on this one. Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore, or Garrett Wilson? Worried about Patrick Surtain, PS2. He's a guy to definitely be worried about. I mean, he did have Mike Evans last week, and we saw what he did.
Wow.
Just out of curiosity, who's your favorite out of these 3 this week? Deontay, right?
DJ.
You said,
DJ.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I guess what Deontay Johnson.
So here's how these guys are ranked for me. 10, 11, and 12. DJ at 10, Garrett 11, Moore at 12.
Okay.
Holy hell, do you have a flex spot you could put one of these guys
into? I know. Man, this is really hard because all of these guys are 10-plus target a week guys or 8-plus target a week guys. I'm going to I feel like Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys too, and Garrett Wilson might be those guys like, oh yeah, we got one of the best corners in the league. Let's make them look like not the best corner in the league, especially when we had the best corner in the league on our defense. So I don't know. They just seems like they could be the arrogant like that. Well, it's Aaron Rodgers, so he's definitely arrogant. I like it. But yeah, I can't sit Garrett Wilson. He's going to get a lot of targets. And even then in the red zone, Rodgers loves throwing 3 or 4 yard touchdown passes. And Garrett Wilson's a super good route runner, can catch the contested ball.
Hell of a catch on that touchdown last week. Like it was awesome.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see who your flex spot is that you have to decide here. But I'll go with Deontay Johnson and Garrett Wilson as well. But, I mean, geez, flip a coin, dude. That's insane.
Yeah.
James Conner or Devon Achane?
Achane.
Achane for me as well. Another, we made that seem easier than it is. Like James Conner, super valuable start every single week too, though.
He had a really weird week last week, but yeah, he'll be good this week. And
yeah,
I just think that Achane's
he's always good. He's always good for. He's kind of like Ramondre for me, fantasy wise.
Yeah,
like
as long as he's healthy, he's going to put up points.
Yeah, they both run well. They both can do well out of the backfield. They're not super elite at either of them, but they're really good at both of them.
Yeah.
Javonte or Charbonnet? Is Kenneth Walker out this week? It's so
nope, he's back. He's back. Kenneth Walker is back, which leans me towards Javonte. I'm not crazy high on either one of these this week.
No.
But all we can go on is what we've seen so far. In week 1, when Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet were both active, Walker was an absolute dominant force in terms of touches. Maybe what got him hurt, I don't know. But
he's just he's better too. I mean, he just is.
Yeah. And I think Javonte higher likelihood of scoring, which is not that high. But if I had to bet which one of these 2 guys scores a touchdown this week, I would go Javonte over Zach.
Yeah, Javonte Williams has been super disappointing.
He has. I don't think that he'll ever
I think
be.
He's one of the.
Wanted him to
he
be.
could be one of those guys that like a change of scenery could help his career.
Like he needs a change of leg. I think his knee is so bad that it just is what it is.
Yeah, I'll go with Javonte as well. Both gonna get. Technically, Javonte's probably the number one on his team, but I still don't even know if he's the best ball carrier on it. But I know Charbonnet is not the best ball carrier on his team.
You got Tyler Batty kind of making a little bit of a life for himself.
He did.
He did. Right.
He looked pretty decent. Freaking signed right off the practice squad and was the best runner last week. But their best runner might be Bo Nix. Zay Flowers or Ramondre? I'll go with Zay Flowers on this one.
Yeah, I don't know. They play the Bills, and the Bills looked pretty good, but Trevor Lawrence made that look that way. So, yeah, I think I got to go.
I'm gonna have to throw
PPR. I think I have to go with Zay Flowers here. Zay Flowers is the reason that Mark Andrews is what Mark Andrews is right now, is because he's become the number one lock-on guy that Lamar has, and that guillotine league where I lost by 0.26 started Mark Andrews too. Thanks a lot.
Gross. Yeah, Zay Flowers is now they can't run. Lamar cannot sustain two consistently relevant fantasy players. Just the kind of quarterback he is. He's a runner and then he throws, right? I mean, he's doing half and half, and that usually leads to him only be able to sustain one fantasy relevant player consistently. And it seems like Zay Flowers is that guy. He's a phenomenal route runner. He can get open, and Lamar can't really fit it into tight coverage, so he's going to throw it it's wide open all the time, which tends to be Zay Flowers running shorter routes. And for a small guy, he does pretty well in the deep ball.
He does. Absolutely.
No problem, Richard. Thank you for coming in and asking us questions. Man. Hopefully they're the right answers. We can't guarantee that. We just have to try and back it up with a little bit of logic.
We try.
Yeah,
that's hard sometimes too.
Well, I feel like last week all of our takes, most of them were pretty good. I don't really think anybody last week did terrible that we kind of were picking in a lot of these.
I don't think so. I just remember pooping all over Amari Cooper and him laughing at me.
Oh yeah, but I didn't poop on him, so that was that helped. It ended up being a little bit even. We do have a super chat. We'll answer this one since it's up, and then we'll go to the super chat. PPR with Olave banged up. Should I start him or Chuba Hubbard?
I'm sticking with Olave, and I get it. But I have a crazy amount of Chris Olave shares that are all starting this week. I think Chuba had a really nice game last week, and he could again this week. But I'm still sticking with Olave.
I am also sticking with Olave. So dollar bill DDB will be next. Okay, after this one. Johnny, thank you for the super chat. Guys, if you're in here watching, the super chat bumps your question to the very, very top. Obviously, because they pay money and we're all greedy. So we're going to
like money.
Yeah. But thank you, Johnny, for the donation.
Appreciate it.
Josh Jacobs or Brian Robertson? Josh Jacobs was a bad take last week. I was kind of on him thinking he would get a lot of touches. Of course, he did terrible, which is bad for me because I have him in a lot of leagues. So it hurt me. It hurt me just as much as anybody else. So does Josh Jacobs bounce back? We do have Jordan Love back this week, so we don't have a mobile quarterback anymore. Or are we rocking with Brian Robinson, who now does not have to share with anybody?
So Josh Jacobs is, and I don't want to say this because I'm going to jinx myself and it's going to ruin my week, but the Minnesota Vikings have the best run defense in football right now. So, and I think Brian Robinson has an excellent opportunity here against an Arizona defense that's been known to give up a bunch. So I'm on Robinson here. I'm just looking at my rankings. I have him at 12. I don't even know where Jacobs is. I have Jacobs a lot further down than that, somewhere else, but I'm going with Robinson here. Sorry, I have Jacobs at 21. So I'm easily on Brian Robinson here.
I'll go with B-Rob as well. I do think Josh Jacobs has a better week this week, but he holds very, very little PPR value. And this week, Brian Robinson probably holds a little more than he did the previous weeks. So
yeah, much better pass catching back than we think he is.
I think these are both really good options this week. I think that the Vikings are going to, or not the Vikings, but the Packers are going to have to establish the run game and keep it relevant.
I hope not.
Excuse me. All right, back to the top. Dollar bill, DDB. Ooh, good one. Jennings, Keenan Allen, Jacoby Meyer or D-Hop in the flex. So Keenan Allen coming back. We got Jacoby Meyer now as the number one option. Well, the second option, I guess Brock Bowers is probably the number one. Or D-Hop in the flex. Jennings is out for me. Everybody's back, so the path to him being on the field as much probably goes down a little bit.
I think Jennings could still find his way onto some rosters that I have as a flex.
Oh, for sure.
But I think that I'm starting. In fact, I would start Jennings over D-Hop this week. That's how bad I feel about Tennessee. But I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers here. I'm not sure Keenan Allen is fully back. He's coming back and playing, but he's been known to come back a little early and disappoint me in the past. I think that Brock Bowers is absolutely the top target in Las Vegas right now. But I like Jacoby Myers. I think Minshew's going to be fighting to keep his job, and that team should come out fired up against the Browns based on their coach kind of kicking them all in the ass after last week. So I'll go with Jacoby Myers here.
I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen is my favorite. Jacoby's a really, really close second for me as well. But I'm starting a lot of Jacoby Myers today, and I feel pretty comfortable with it. So, you know what? While I'm here, I'm going to be selfish and skip the line myself because I can. Would you start Jacoby Myers over Zach Moss today?
No.
Starting Zach Moss?
I think so. I think Moss is the real deal for them, and they're going to need to run the football. So I like Zach.
They get both of them involved, but Zach Moss does get definitely the goal line work. So
yeah, and I'm not sure I've ever said this in my life, but I like Zach Moss.
Yeah, he kind of just does everything pretty decent, you know. So all right. PPR, need tight end, Noah Fant or Colby Parkinson. Thank you for your help. Have a great Sunday.
Well, Mark, this sucks, dude.
Noah Fant had a decent week last week.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be a lot of passing yards in that Lions and Seahawks game. That said, the Rams are a flipping mess. And I know Parkinson didn't get a lot last week, but I'll just look at my rankings. But off the top of my head,
we say they're a mess, but they did win last week.
That's how bad the Niners defense is right now.
Yeah,
ridiculous. I have Parkinson at 18, and I have Fant at 20. So I'll stick with my rankings and my thoughts and go with Colby Parkinson here. And I wish you luck because the defining piece here is a touchdown. It's the only thing that makes these guys relevant.
Yeah, I'll go with Colby Parkinson as well. He had 100% snap count last week, which is pretty impressive. 81 and 88 the weeks before as well. So he's on the field quite a bit. Noah Fant is definitely an afterthought in that offense. So
he's got to be like the fifth option, right?
Yeah, but he got some value last week. But another guy I think would be pretty good.
Just need to play in a points per snap league, Mark. You'd be laughing.
PPR, Javonte or Roshan Johnson. Then Ridley or Kirk. Cool. Also Leggett or Juwan Jennings.
Okay. But the first two, I'm on Roshan. I think it's time for him to take over for Swift, who has looked horrific. And I'm going to go Kirk over Ridley. And I'll go Leggett over Jennings. I think that Andy Dalton's going to have to sling it. And he doesn't have much other than he's going to Adam Thielen. So I think Leggett could be a guy this week to play.
Yeah, Andy definitely could. I mean, putting up the numbers he put last week, he could definitely sustain two wide receivers. And we saw that in the first half. It was both Deontay and Adam Thielen. No Thielen now for the next 4 weeks. He's on IR. I'll take Leggett over Juwan Jennings this week. Give me Kirk over Ridley. They said they were going to get him more involved, and they did, even though that game got out of hand very, very quickly. And I will also go Roshan Johnson over Javonte Williams this week. It's got to be Roshan. He looks better than all of them. I don't know why they brought in a running back at all. It seemed like Khalil Herbert and Roshan were doing just fine last year.
I still think Khalil Herbert's the best running back on their roster, and
I think he's the best pure runner for sure. But I think Roshan could be that guy that does both for you. So it's like you can, I don't know. Dylan Finnick, what's up, boys? What up, man? Need help. Full PPR, all different leagues. Start one. Well, Andrews are likely. Nope.
I have likely ranked higher, so I'll go with likely.
I'll go with Andrews. I don't know why the snap count had to be something strange last week. I don't think that happens consistently. I'll stick with Andrews. Then we got Akers, Waddle, or Juwan Jennings. Who you sitting out of those three? I'm sitting Jennings.
Yeah, I want to say Waddle, but I'm sitting Jennings.
Yeah, Akers holds value because he can find the end zone. Last week was terrible. The whole team played bad except Stephon Diggs.
I told you he's going to have a bad game.
I mean, he did, but it's not. I mean, he didn't really look that bad. He's just taking freaking hit. Yeah, he was getting hit at the line of scrimmage or behind it every single play, so he had no room to wiggle or anything. That defense was mauling him. And then another
playing good.
Yeah, another start 2 running back, 1 tight end, 1 flex. So we're starting 4 out of here. Monty, Akers, Walker, Kmet. So the 2 running backs, we're gonna go Monty and Walker, right?
We are.
Okay. Then we got tight end with Kmet and likely. Kmet. It's kind of easy.
Yeah, I have likely. Oh, no, hang on. Yeah,
Kmet. And then then our flex option is either Michael Wilson or Akers. And I will go with Akers.
And I will go with Michael Wilson without Trey McBride there. He's the number 2 for sure. And Kyler he had a good week last week, and Kyler likes him. I think that's my play.
Fair enough. Dylan Fink, start 1 QB. Mayfield, Richardson, Caleb. Who we starting out of those?
Baker. And I want it to be Richardson, but the guy has less than 50% completion percentages on throws over 12 yards. His completion percentage is 38%, which is pretty hard to do. And he's not running. So, I have Richardson going in a few leagues this week because I have no choice. But if I had a choice, he wouldn't be in my lineup.
Richardson, my last one here, but I'm honestly considering Caleb Williams here over Mayfield. Because, Mayfield gets the job done, but he can also get it done without throwing that many yards, where Caleb Williams, I feel like the Bears, I think last week, even though they lost, might be some confidence in their pass game. I mean, he had a pretty good stat line.
You had to throw the ball 51 times, though, to get there, right? Like, I get it. You threw for over 300 yards.
And you got a big piece coming back. I mean, I know Keenan Allen's a little bit older, but he's a sure-handed guy that's a really, really good route runner nonetheless.
That's fair.
And I really do think that he and Caleb Williams have the best, I think they have the best relationship out of all his receivers. So I don't know. I feel like having him back is going to be a big difference maker on him, especially getting the ball out quick with that offensive line. I'll go with Caleb Williams here. It's close between him and Mayfield for me. And then start 2 running backs. Who are we sitting at? Jacobs, Walker, and Dobbins?
Whew. I'm still thinking about the last part of the question. I think I might go Caleb with you now that I think about it. So you sold him pretty well there on me. I know I have Jacobs at 21. I don't know where I have Dobbins. I have Dobbins at 23, and I probably haven't put Walker and moved him up because of the news. I haven't changed my rankings yet. I'm going to sit Dobbins. I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's either Dobbins or Jacobs for me, I feel like.
Chiefs have a decent run defense.
Is that who the Chargers got today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sit them. Dobbins doesn't really have much PPR value either.
He doesn't need to. He just 7.8 yards per carry.
Yeah. Need help with a second flex spot. Carson Steele or Ladd McConkey?
I go Carson Steele here. He played about 80% of their snaps, had a bunch of their touches.
They tried to get him a touchdown too. They really did, and it just didn't happen.
Not to keep bringing it up, but he was on that guillotine league that got chopped as well. He just needed 3 more yards. Anyway, I'm not bitter at all. I'm totally over it.
And he got stuffed on the goal line 2 times in a row.
Yeah. I'm aware.
I mean, it wasn't his fault. It's not like he just made a bad cut or anything. They freaking were jamming. He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He's
old school though. Hey, there's no wiggle in that dude's game. He just straight up. I love it.
Which is kind of Pacheco like too. He and Pacheco run the same. They just look different doing it. Pacheco really doesn't have much lateral movement either.
He's got a little more twitch, but not much.
A little bit more for sure. Probably a little bit better acceleration as well. Pacheco's fast.
I like Steele though. He just looks like a pretty cool dude. Like
I think Andy Reid likes it too. Like you get back to some old school football with there.
They were talking about how Andy Reid would found him in some like Div 3 or something school because he just watches so much football, and he's like, "Who's this guy?" And then when he signed it, I think it was they said UCLA or USC. That's when he really became on their radar. So that was pretty cool.
Okay, or consider others from waiver wire like Jahan Dotson and Quentin Johnson or Trey Tucker. I'm really kind of surprised Quentin Johnson's on a waiver wire still.
Yeah, so I don't know if I would start him over. I might, but I think you absolutely should pick him up. Trey Tucker's another guy that might be interesting if rumors are what rumors are in Las Vegas and Devontae is going to go away at some point. Trey Tucker will hold some value for you later. I'm going to stick with Carson Steele here because I always default to the guy who I think is the most likely to score. Ladd McConkey's got a wonky quarterback and a tough matchup against KC. Dotson hasn't been getting any targets, and it's not like they've been rich with wide receiver talent like Brendan Covey or whatever his name is was doing stuff out there, and Dotson was doing nothing. But pick up QJ, but I think I'm going to start Steele.
Yeah, I'll stick with Carson Steele here. But Quentin Johnson kind of hates it, proving some haters wrong this year. He's kind of making some decent catches and down the sideline using that big body. So maybe his hands aren't as bad as thought.
This is a rough show so far. I've said I like Zach Moss and pick up Quentin Johnson in the same episode. So let's see what happens here.
I mean, I never hated Quentin Johnson. I definitely don't think he was warranted a first-round draft pick by anything.
I hated him.
Yeah.
Rick and I both did.
Yeah, the thing is, like, sometimes even these guys that don't have the best hands, like, sometimes if you can just get the ball in their hands, he's a pretty good after the catch guy, right? So if you can get him open enough to get the catch, he can maybe make something happen. But he's actually making some pretty good catches so far. He has been wide open on a lot of his touchdowns, wide open. So,
but somebody has taught him how to catch a football because he was such a body catcher coming out, and he's now actually getting his hands on it. So that's good for him.
Got a pretty good coach over there. So
yeah, he's all right.
Sup, brothers? A. Jones, Josh Jacobs, and Mason. Pick two. Who we benching out of those three?
I'm sitting Jacobs easily.
I'm also sitting Jacobs here, and it's like that's a good problem to have. Mm-hmm. Starting St. Brown and Marvin Harrison Jr. And then who should I flex? Deontay or the third running back that you sit? It's Deontay.
It is Deontay for me.
I'm putting in Deontay over Marvin Harrison Jr., if that makes
I'm not.
Really?
I'm not. Okay. No. Did I rank it that way? I probably ranked it that way, but yeah.
I think I have Deontay in your top 10.
So yeah, I don't think I have Harrison. I don't think so. I think he's probably about 14 or 15 or somewhere in that range.
Either way.
Never mind. He's at 8. So yeah, I'm starting Harrison over Deontay Johnson.
What's Deontay at? 9, 10?
10.
Oh, he's at 10. Okay.
They're both must-start guys. So, but yeah, I think here.
For sure.
Aaron Jones, massive revenge game opportunity. Mason looks like the best running back in football right now. So Jacob sits. And obviously, I think those two wide receivers you're starting are really good there. So I'd throw Deontay in there, like Bryce said.
Yeah.
Easy.
And we don't believe Deontay's a better wide receiver than Marvin Harrison. Just people watching. We go by fantasy relevance, which is targets. And Deontay is going to assert himself as a target monster this year.
I honestly think the best skill to have for fantasy football is opportunity. Like he has opportunity right now in a big way.
Yes. So what do you think of the Saints D versus the Falcons?
I think it's an okay play because I don't think Kirk is still number one, he wasn't very mobile when he was 100%. And I still don't think he's totally 100%. And I think they will come after him a lot. So I think there's some potential there. And that Atlanta secondary, especially the safeties, Bates and I can't remember who the other one are, played really, really well the last couple of games. So I'm sorry, we're talking about the Saints team. My bad.
Yeah.
I like them, but I might even like Atlanta's defense a little bit more. But I think they'll get to Kirk today. And Cousins has shown early on this season, if you get to him, he's in trouble. So I like him.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints D also kind of held a good offense last week into very minimal points in the Philadelphia's offense. They were missing A.J. Brown, to be fair.
That was a weird game. And Smith for most of it, too.
It's never a fun feeling to start a defense against a team that has as much talent as the Falcons. So it's like I wouldn't be super, super comfortable about it, because especially since the Falcons O-line is not bad. But I mean, it just depends on what your other options are, for sure.
I have them ranked 14th. Or sorry, I don't have them ranked 14th. I don't know why I want to talk about Atlanta. Yeah, I have New Orleans ranked 27th, so I'm probably looking elsewhere. But I do think they get some sacks.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Camarena asked, would you start Kamara or would you swap him out? He's planning on starting. I mean,
if the Saints are starting him, so am I.
Yeah, they're so run heavy this year, and it's just him. He's a top 3 running back start every single week. Regardless of matchup.
He's in my top 10 out of flexes this week. So combined running backs and wide receivers, he's in it. Yeah,
he could end this year as RB1. It wouldn't shock me that much. I mean, it's going to be him and Barkley. I think that lead the pack. Breece Hall creep in there as well. But they're getting all the work, all the touches.
Bijan's got an outside shot if they can get him into the end zone.
For sure. He just has to score. That's all he has to do.
Yeah.
This is not me, but it is another Bryce. Pick one: Rachaad White, Kenneth Walker, or Hubbard.
I would rank it Walker, Hubbard, White, so I will go with Walker.
Yeah, it's Kenneth Walker here. Pretty wide margin above the other two. Then he asked London or Njigba at flex.
Good question. You go. I gotta look. I think I know with my hand.
Yeah, it's London for me. We're talking about the first option on the team compared to the second. When coming to London and Njigba, London started to get some more involved last week. Got a red zone target as well. Big body receiver. Cousins got to start looking to him more often, get him more involved in that offense for them to be successful. So,
agree with all of that. I am on Drake London as well.
And they should have won that game last week. They got completely robbed on a super obvious pass interference in the end zone. I mean, that was kind of ridiculous that got mixed.
Yeah, it was disappointing for sure.
We missed another super flex. Sorry, Johnny.
I like Njigba as well, but I would go London over him. Okay, let's get that one then.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't even see this one pop up. Normally it pops up at the top of my screen. Where'd it go? Here it is. Johnny, 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. Collins, Ridley, Allen, JSN, Kamara, and Pollard.
2 wide receivers and a flex. Collins. Definitely Collins.
The flex has to be Kamara. There's no, Collins and Kamara. So then we're picking another wide receiver.
I'm going Collins, JSN here, I think.
I'll go Collins, Allen, Kamara.
Okay.
Collins, Allen, Kamara for me. And then since Mike Evans. He has add that right after.
Collins and Mike Evans.
Yep, Collins, Mike Evans for me as well. Yep.
And Kamara.
I'm going to see if he asks another question in here. No, we could. Okay, he did not. Must say we'd go to it since we accidentally skipped him.
Johnny, that's appreciated. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir. If you ask another question, I'll go to the bottom and get to it first since you donated and we took too long to get to that one. Need help. I need 2 flex. I got Brandon Ayuk, Javonte Williams. JMO Williams.
Yeah.
Rome Odunze or Rashid Shaheed. And at tight end, should I start Cole Kmet or Mike Gesicki?
So we just need 2 of these wide receivers playing in his flex?
Yep.
It's another team that's got way better guys than mine. I think Ayuk is my first one. I just expect them to get something out of him.
I will agree.
Probably Odunze. It's between Jamo and Odunze for me. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'll go with Williams. I think, like I said 3 times already, I think there's a ton of scoring and throwing in that Lions Seahawks game. And I would not start. I'm struggling with this one. I don't know which one. I think it is, but I think
Gesicki's not even the best tight end on his team. Their rookie, Eric All is freaking a stud, and he is going to eventually emerge as their best option. I like Gesicki too. I mean, I think that's a really good 1-2 combo. I mean, Gesicki's just a big playmaker guy, typically. I know he did have a good week 2 weeks ago or something like that, like against the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken. He kind of blew up. But I think Eric All is becoming more and more involved in that offense. I think he'll eventually take over. So I'll start Komet. I think he gives you a safer floor as well.
They're back-to-back in my rankings. I'm going to go with Gesicki. The only reason is I think that Keenan Allen's presence might, Cole Kmet's done nothing. And then all of a sudden last week he kind of exploded and looked good. And because the tight end position is so horrific this season, that's a lot of spotlight gets put on a guy. So I think he's good, and I think he's a fine start. But I just think Gesicki's a little bit more likely to get you the 4 for 45 and maybe score than Kmet is. So slightly prefer Gesicki over Kmet, but don't blame me for starting either one.
And the wide receivers for me, it's going to be Brandon Ayuk and Jamison Williams for me as well. I can't blame you for going Rome Odunze here, but I really want to see Rome Odunze's involvement and target share with all three of them on the field for more than 1 week. So I'll go with Williams. I think he's the number 2 target on that team now. I know that they got that tight end there, but Jameson Williams is finally kind of having that season that they need from him, especially after drafting him in the first round, knowing that he wouldn't be valuable for his first year.
Agree.
Next question. TD only league. Okay. Start 3 wide receiver. Debo, Jameson, Rashid Rice. Okay. Or Nico Collins, Deontay Johnson. So which 3 are we starting here?
Starting Rice and Collins for sure.
I'm taking the last 3. Rice, Collins, and Deontay.
Just wondering if Debo has more. He's coming back. I need to see what happens in a week. I'll join you with that. I'll take Deontay Johnson as well. Yep. Debo gives me pause because he could easily rush one in as well, right? So,
yep.
But yeah, I'll go with Rice, Collins, Deontay.
We got Andy Dalton on the ultimate revenge game today.
We sure do.
The ultimate revenge game.
The funniest thing is this is the 4th time he's had revenge, and it's the 4th different team. We missed the last part of that last question.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. Start 2, James Conner, Brian Robinson, Alvin Kamara, Devon Achane, and also flex one of them.
Okay, so we're benching one. Who are we benching? Wowzers.
Holy shit.
I guess
it might be James Conner.
I think it is. Yep.
I really like Brian Robinson this week, and Kamara and Achane are no-brainers, so I think I'm sitting Conner. Ugh.
Yep.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
It's a good roster there, Jonathan. Well done. Should have helped me draft next time I'm in a league.
I have a couple. I have tough questions like that, but not nearly enough. Do you guys think Juwan Jennings is worth playing this week with Debo coming back? I mean, this is hard to answer unless you're like telling us who you're debating between. I don't think he definitely. I don't think he's a bad start. He's a good.
Definitely has flex appeal. He's not gonna get whatever it was last week, 8 catches, 100 and something and 3. That's not going to happen. But you even think back to the Super Bowl, right? Like when they needed a possession, they needed to move the chains. They were looking at Jennings last year, even in that game. So he has a role. They paid him $7 million. He's got a role there. And as much as I think Brandon Ayuk comes back to more so of Brandon Ayuk this week, I think that's where he stays relevant. Because if Ayuk is struggling to get up to speed and into shape based on missing camp, that's where Jennings slides in. So like Bryce said, you need to see your lineups, but I think he's going to be a flex level play for majority of the season. So
Ertz or Conklin at tight end?
I have Zach Ertz slightly higher, but I think they're both pretty much the same guy. Rodgers sure made Conklin look good last week.
Yeah, had some big catches for a lot of yards. But the weeks prior to that, he wasn't even getting 3 catches a week. So
exactly.
Probably inconsistent play for him on the season, but it is a decent week for him too. Because if Patrick Surtain is able to kind of just shut one of the receivers down, it does leave him as a solid option. I definitely like the running backs this week getting a lot of work out of the backfield. I
do too. The Broncos defense is a pretty good pass defense against all positions.
both running backs might be worth starting this week for the.
Don't disagree with that either.
Standard league, start 3. Nico Collins, Brandon Ayuk, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Rashid Rice. This is rather easily, I imagine. What are these? What? How is this happening for people?
That's crazy. that has to be an 18 league, but even in an 18 league, that's awesome. I'm sitting Brandon Ayuk.
I am also sitting Brandon Ayuk this week.
Holy shit!
Kind of easily. Rashee Rice is a no-brainer every week at this point. I mean, we don't even need to put him in questions at this. I don't even think we need to put him in questions.
We could do a show on guys I shouldn't have traded, and he would be on that list.
Yeah,
he might be the number one receiver at the end of the year if he keeps getting as many targets and as much yak as he is.
Right now, it's Malik Neighbors, number one receiver.
I sure hope he can. He's got 10 days to get back off that concussion, so I sure hope he can.
Yeah, I imagine he could.
There was a point in that game on Thursday where Daniel Jones had thrown 25 passes. 20 of them went to Neighbors or Wandale. Like, they're the only two guys he throws the football to. So
I got all the neighborhood dogs howling outside. Can you hear it?
No.
They're just howling at nothing. I think
they hate your takes, apparently.
I think an ambulance went by.
I could hear him now.
And now
that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Start to wide receivers. Oh, there they go again. Worthy, JSN, Ridley, and DeMarcus Robinson. So who are we starting out of these four?
I'm going to go with JSN for sure. It is not DeMarcus Robinson for me. I like the upside of Worthy. So I'm going to go with the first two. Holy, they're giving her, hey?
I know. I don't know what I'm about to go to the window and shut it.
Somebody drop a pork chop on their way home from the grocery store.
What is going on? I've got three, and one of them just adds to it so bad. The other two kind of just bark regular, and then they stopped again. All right, I'll go JSN and Ridley. Worthy's usage is kind of what I thought it would be on a consistent basis for 3 to 4 touches. I think they need to get him involved more, especially with Travis Kelce not really stepping up. The Chiefs have kind of just like looked bad and won all their games so far this year. They just find a way to get it done. I think to really unlock that offense and put them back to like that next level of the team that needs to be really, really feared, they've got to get somebody else stepping up, whether it's Travis Kelce again or Xavier Worthy. And I just don't know. Travis Kelce's getting old, so I'll kind of just hope it's the young guy. But yeah. So I said Worthy, right, in JSN? Or no, I said Ridley. Until then, I will go with Ridley and JSN above these two. Just can't trust the guy that's only getting like 3 to 4 touches and 3 to 4 looks every week. I know he can take 2 of them to the house, but we only saw that once.
I agree.
1 PPR, 0.15 points per carry.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, it's wide receivers. I guess the only. Start 2: Olave, Hill, Higgins, Reed, and Etienne. Well, with that information, definitely Etienne.
Yep.
I mean, I guess 10 carries is what, 15 points?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Etienne and Olave here.
Or no. 10 carries would be 1.5 points. Still
1.5 points.
Yeah. I'd start him here anyway. So whether that thing was there or not. So Etienne. And then now we got Olave, Hill, Higgins, and Reed. Well, maybe I don't know.
Olave.
Over Tyreek and over Tyreek?
Yeah, you want to know where I have Hill ranked this week?
I'm going to go with Hill. I can't bench Tyreek Hill. Can't do it.
He's my wide receiver 28 this week.
Jeez. I like Jaden Reed a lot this week too, though. I mean, with what's his name back?
I have
Jordan
Reed
Love.
higher. I have Higgins higher. I would start them all over time.
That's insane that you'd have 3 of these guys on your bench. It's absurd.
Yeah.
Etienne.
And I get it. The Tyreek Hill has that 40-point ceiling, but he doesn't have that 40-point ceiling right now. He's in a really, really rough spot right now. And I hope I'm wrong.
He does have the 14.1 playability, though, that the rest of these guys really lack. I mean, Jaden Reed probably has it too, but we're not really seeing Olave get that very often. Higgins doesn't really get it.
No,
either.
Shaheed is that option for the Saints, so you're right about that.
Correct.
Yeah, I hope I'm so wrong and I have to eat crow and look like an idiot about Tyreek because I have a lot of shares. But
well, I mean, it's not like you're putting Juwan Jennings over him. You're starting.
There's the man. We were just talking about Marco from the future.
Talking about him last week. I know.
It was from the future, so you knew that we were going to talk about last week's this week.
Mark will never get tired of hearing from you.
Not
never
a chance,
ever have to say that.
Keep them coming, bro. We appreciate you being here more than you
know. Next week it's just me by myself. I'll just be in here talking to myself. So
yeah, if they would have given me keys to if I had keys to the car, I would have gone week 2 by myself. But I'm going to unfortunately be on a plane at the time of this show, so I won't be able to join us.
Well, I had to ban something. There was a spam in the chat. Oh my gosh, there's another one.
Yeah, there's quite a few in there. So inside of this really nice message from Mark, he asks us, would you start Chuba Hubbard or Jawan Jennings in a PPR league? And he says, thanks, really appreciate your help. We love helping out and I hope it's working out for you. I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard over Jawan Jennings, just more consistent line to touches, I believe, this week. Chuba had a great week last week.
And he had 2 touchdown upside if they didn't just like give Miles Sanders pity carries.
Yeah, just to justify the big check that Tepper wrote him. So
yeah, probably.
I like Chuba this week.
Yeah, any offense that starts scoring at will, like the Panthers might be able to now. Sure.
So crazy to say.
I know. I mean, it just makes I was completely. I mean, I got to eat crow on Bryce Young. I think that he could be one of those guys that have like a Sam Darnold or a Geno Smith like resurgence one day, maybe under the right in the right situation. But geez,
that situation is in Canada.
It's not.
That's where Bryce Young needs to go to Canada. I'm sorry. He would be such a good Canadian Football League quarterback, but he's toast. He's done. He's too small.
Fair enough. I can't even defend him at this point. I will also go.
I don't get a whole lot of shit right, but I actually got that one right, I think.
Andres asks, pick one flex and half PPR. Najee, Dobbins, DJ Moore. Thanks and good luck. I will take DJ Moore. Yes, DJ Moore.
I'm going to go with Najee.
Man, it's half PPR. It makes it a lot closer now that I'm looking at it.
Warren is out, half PPR, and the Steelers play the Colts, and the Colts have given up over 150 yards rushing twice to one guy this year.
You can't convince me any further. I will also switch to Najee. Full PPR, I might lean DJ Moore. Might.
I'd stay Najee, but it'd be way closer.
Yes. Johnny, thank you.
You rock, Johnny. Thanks for your patience.
And he has to scrolling down. He says, "Hit that like button." Absolutely,
thanks,
guys. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell.
Every
Sunday we go live. There's a couple that we might miss because
every Sunday except for this one.
Tattoo appointments, and all that stuff. But
Bryce solo next week. It's going to be awesome. I'll have to watch it when I land.
I'll be here. Maybe I can get Rick to come out of retirement.
We'll
for
see.
A minute and join me. It's not no big deal.
I don't think it's going to happen, but
maybe I can get somebody to join. Just somebody that has some football knowledge.
I can go to work and find you somebody.
I have to sit one of these guys. Thoughts: Gibbs, Connor, Henry, Evans, and Metcalf. Who are we sitting out of these?
Crap!
It's not Henry at this point.
It's James Conner again.
I think it's got to be. Man, Jeezy Pete.
I am in the wrong leagues.
Ouchie. I mean, you could justify sitting Evans if you are looking at the safest options here. Because of all these guys to get you less than 5 points, it is Mike Evans. But I just do not see it happening this week. I really don't. So I'll sit James Conner. This is like the week not to sit Evans. Last week, if you asked me this question last week and I knew the matchups, I probably would have said Mike Evans. He does struggle against like really elite corners, and he has this whole career. We saw it with the Saints with Mark Lattimore. People sleep on Lattimore, but Lattimore's always been a pretty good corner. And I will say like corners in their prime, their careers are like a lot short. Their prime is so much shorter than every other position's prime, it seems like. But Lattimore in his prime was always locking up Mike Evans, and it seems like that was always a struggle throughout his entire career. And I would have said,
who does that to Evans today on the Eagles?
Exactly. So that's why I'm picking Connor. That's why I'm picking Connor to sit here.
Darius Slay is nothing that he once was. I don't think the Eagles are that great of a defense, and I think the Eagles are in tough this week. So.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson's their best option. Who could get some momentum if he kind of gets things started. I really don't think he's that bad of a wide receiver. I don't know if that's maybe their playbook's complicated or what. Why he's not maybe getting utilized a little more. But it's that little white slot corner they got Cover or something. Coven. I don't know his name.
Brendan Covey or something.
Yes,
I don't
Kobe.
know.
Yep. He
Looks
might be a
good.
decent little start this way. I'm kind of surprised we don't have any questions with him in it, to be honest.
Yeah.
He might be
a
good option.
Still is.
Oh, he'd probably be a good option this week. At PPR, bench 1. Ayuk, Debo, Gibbs, or Achane. I'm going to bench Debo here.
Me too.
Yeah.
Bryce, I got to run out for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. All right. Cameron I don't know. Cameron, Hubbard or Jacobs or Mixon, full PPR. Mixon's out, so make sure you do not put him in your lineups. He is officially out this week. So we got Hubbard or Jacobs. I will go with Josh Jacobs having a bounce back week this week. I think he's got to find the end zone as well. It's been a while. I don't know if he's gotten a touchdown yet this year. So lack of usage last week, probably a little bit of a good reason why, because the previous week he had over 30 touches. Maybe they were trying to give him a little bit of a rest. Malik Willis was doing a really good job running the football himself. They kind of had control of that entire game. So it's like, let's kind of maybe keep some of our star players, keep the miles on them low for the season. So maybe that was a little bit of a reason. I don't know. They didn't need to use him, so they didn't. And Chuba, even though I do like him as an option, has a little bit of a shared backfield there with Miles Sanders. So I'll go with Josh Jacobs on the bounce back week this week. Josh Jacobs or Hubbard?
Jacobs, but not by much. And you mentioned that Mixon's out, I'm assuming.
Yes, I did. I said make sure he is not in your lineups today. Daniel Katz, what's up, man? I like his name Katz and his whole name's Catlock. Achane or Pollard? Achane, right? I mean, is Achane ever a sit at this point?
I don't think he can be. But man,
is he in a lot of questions? Is Mostert back this week?
I think he is, but
is that why he's in a lot of questions?
I just think because Miami's offense is in just such a state of disrepair with the quarterback situation. But
you think they got to run it through the run game at this point? Okay, and then this next part of the question. Interesting to hear your take on it after you catch your breath. Shakir or McLaurin? Oh, he's still going. You're a big Shakir fan. But McLaurin, what a freaking resurgence.
Yeah, man, that he looks so good at catching those passes from Jaden Daniels. I'm going to start coughing again. But Khalil Shakir, I can't remember how many times he's been targeted this season. He's caught them all. Josh Allen doesn't have an incomplete pass to him this year. Shakir's awesome. I love him.
Yeah,
he's going to be a guy.
I'll go with Shakir as well. Let me see McLaurin do it 2 weeks in a row until I'm starting him every week. Start Pitts, Fant, Monroe, or Month. I think there's only one option here. Pitts. Got to be Pitts.
It has to be, but sorry about that, Marco. Kills me.
Ertz or Trey Tucker, Dortch, Calvin Austin, Luke McCaffrey, or any probable waiver wire guys in a 12-man league.
See, these are the types of questions that I like because these are the decisions that I'm making, not which top 12 wide receiver can I not start this week. So
I'm curious to see if we have the same answer here. I think we will, but I'll let you answer first.
I think I know where you're going. I'm going Greg Dortch.
Oh, no, I'm not going that way. I will go Trey Tucker.
Really? I thought you would go Calvin Austin.
No, I don't want any wide receiver in that team. I mean, I don't feel super uncomfortable with Pickens, but they just don't throw enough. They don't have to.
And I don't buy Calvin Austin having another game like that.
No, he had a big play to salvage the whole week. I mean, that's he had a 12-point, 13-point play. Bam.
I like Dortch. Because again, McBride is out. I also like Higgins, the backup tight end in Arizona this week.
I'm forced to start him in one league where McBride was
I had to pick him up and start him in a couple. Same thing. But I like Dortch in the middle of the field. Trey Tucker, still Gardner Minshew. It's still Vegas, and I don't know. But that would be my second choice.
Yep, give me Trey Tucker. I'll take him. They're going to take some shots down the field today with him, and they're definitely going to be with him. Jaws gives us a thumbs up. Thanks, Jaws.
Always good to see you, Jaws. Thanks for being here, brother.
RCA asks full PPR Cam Akers or Braylon Allen. Man, I was just saying too that he could be worth a start, but I'm not starting him over Cam Akers. I'll take a starting running back. I'm taking the starting the guy I'm confident gets probably 15 touches plus this week in Cam Akers over Braylon Allen.
there was 2 Monday night games last week, and I watched the entire Jaguars. Holy crap, I'm blanking on who kicked their ass. Buffalo game. And that entire team looked broken. It looked like they were playing like they wanted their coach to get canned. So I'm going to go with Cam Akers as well. I don't really like him at all this week, but to Bryce's point, Braden Allen is going to get 8 to 10 touches today. And he's probably going to do a lot of stuff with it. But unless he scores or starts to catch the ball, Cam Akers is probably going to be the better option. So I would think that Arizona comes out and blows the damn doors right off of Jacksonville in this one. So I'm going to go with Akers as well, even though I don't really like him at all.
Yeah, they get blown out 2 weeks in a row. There's no way he keeps his job. The Bengals lose today. Does their coach get fired? I think so.
No, because they're too cheap to pay another one. I don't think either one of them will lose their job in season, especially not this early. You've got to be like
I don't know. I think the Bengals could can their coach. I mean, 0-4 is ridiculous.
But your season's over. What's the point?
To just get the next one started, get it ready, so then they don't have to learn whole new offenses or defense or whatever they want to do. Learn that throughout the season. Then you're going into the off season like with at least some basic knowledge of how this next coach wants to run their organization and transition into it. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe same coach that took him to the Super Bowl.
I mean, if they lose this week, they're going to be most of Ohio is going to be asking for his head on a stick. So,
well, I think that Joe Burrow needs to get back to his normal hair. I think that's the problem. Personally.
Well, I mean, Bengals offense last week played great, right? You put up 30 points in the NFL, you should win.
I saw a meme
period point blank.
I saw a meme that said the Cincinnati Bengals are 0-3 since Ellen DeGeneres became the starting quarterback, and I thought that was one of the best things. I thought that was one of the best things I'd seen in a long time.
So. But the offense played great last week. The defense was terrible. I mean, you let up 34 points. Like you can't. Well, you're not going to win. You put up 30 points in the NFL, you're going to win 15 games a year normally. So, defense got.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And they got hosed against that game against Kansas City. They should have won that game, but
yeah,
they haven't. I don't think either one of them get fired this early in the season, but I'm wrong.
They probably won't lose. They probably won't lose today. They'll probably win though. Terry, McLaurin, Ayuk, or JSN full PPR. I will start Terry here.
I think so too. I like all three of them this week, but
yeah, they're all really clumped together for me. But I'll start Terry. Terry and Ayuk, I think, have the JSN still going to be inconsistent with Tyler Lockett there. I think so. The other two have an easier path to consistent targets. So I'll go with the better quarterback. I think who the better quarterback is, which is Jaden Daniels.
He sure looks good.
Tyler Pettit? I don't know. Start 2. Half PPR. Ayuk, London, Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris.
It is Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson for me.
It is Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson for me as well. It's going to be hard for me not to pick Deontay Johnson this week. 10-man, PPR, pick 2 flex. Mike Evans, David Montgomery, Kenneth Walker, Jameson Williams, Chuba Hubbard, Jordan Addison. We probably take Jordan Addison out of there for now until we see
he is playing, but I wouldn't risk it with this list of players.
Yeah, let's see who he gets to, what his usage is first.
It is PPR. I think Kenneth Walker has to be one of them, just on volume. I kind of think that David Montgomery should be the second one, but I'll go with Mike Evans instead.
Man, I'm going to go with David Montgomery as my number 1.
Okay.
He's getting 20-plus touches on the ground every week. He's actually getting a little bit of utilization in the pass game, too, which is interesting.
Yeah, that backfield split almost 50-50, both ground and air right now, so it is interesting.
Yeah. Man. Who do the Seahawks play today?
The Lions, but it's tomorrow, I believe. I believe it's Monday. One of them.
There's another two Monday nighter tomorrow.
Yeah, Seahawks at Lions.
Man, this is tough. I'll go with David Montgomery and Mike Evans. That's tough for me. So if you wanted a safer play, you could definitely do both running backs, though, if you wanted safer.
Right. Yeah, but I do like Walker a little bit more than Montgomery. So That's where I'll go.
T Higgins or JSN?
JSN for me. Non-PPR, I don't think that matters a whole lot. But
I don't know. I don't know if the non-PPR is for the next question or I don't know.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter here.
I'll just say, regardless of format, I like JSN a little bit more than T Higgins this week. Like he bounces back.
I'll go JSN as well. And then Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts. I'll go Jaden Daniels.
Same.
Yeah, this question gets a lot more interesting if both his top wide receivers aren't out, but they are. So
I have Daniels as my number 2 quarterback this week.
Yep. I made a trade preseason. I traded Jalen Hurts away for Jaden Daniels and Jalen Polk. I feel really good about it.
I have a league where I have Daniel Jones and Jaden Daniels, and I've been trying to get rid of Daniel Jones forever. So I sent a trade offer, and the guy accepts it right away, and I'm like, what's going on? And I sent Jaden Daniels for a second and not Daniel Jones for a second. Thankfully, the guy understood what I was doing and traded it back to me, but I was like,
oh, man, that would make your heart sink for a second.
Oh, I just started to cry. I'm not going to lie. So,
what up, bros?
JP,
what's up, JP?
What is up?
He follows it up with, y'all going Debo or Deontay? I'm leaning Deontay.
Me too.
You don't lean. Just go ahead and step on over.
Step,
fall, whatever you got to do. Dive.
Head first, baby. Yeah.
There's no leaning on that one. That's an easy one for us to this week. David Montgomery and A.J. Brown for Tyreek, Isaiah Pacheco, and JSN. Who wins this trade? If this is, man.
It has to be Dynasty because you're not trading for Pacheco if it's not, are you?
Not unless you could have Carson Steele and you're just like, hey, I'll rock with Carson Steele until Pacheco.
I just don't think Pacheco plays again this season.
If he does, it could be the playoffs.
Montgomery and A.J. Brown for Tyreek, Isaiah Pacheco, and JSN. I think I'm taking
in all formats David Montgomery and A.J. Brown.
Same.
David Montgomery's only 27. I mean, and the way he's playing on that and using that offense, I don't see it changing anytime soon, which probably sucks for Jahmyr Gibbs owners in all reality, because he really probably won't ever have that number 1 running back upside as long as David Montgomery's there. Definitely still top 10, but
if it is Dynasty and I'm a little bit more of a rebuild, I'll take the other side because I'm going to trade Tyreek and I'm going to trade Isaiah Pacheco as well. But that's the only reason. But for just winning right now, I'm going to grab Montgomery and A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I'll take Montgomery and A.J. in all formats. And JP even says Pacheco could be done.
So
here's a good one. Here's a good one.
It is a good one. And I have Deontay ranked higher this week. That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the matchup just is not favorable for Garrett Wilson either.
Aaron Rodgers seems to be pretty comfortable with Lazard still. Like, I don't think Wilson's getting enough targets. Like, he should get way more. But these are back-to-back, like we talked about earlier. I had 10, 11, and 12, and DJ Moore was 12. I have Deontay at 10 and Wilson at 11. So,
and last week, it's not like Wilson. I mean, people don't really know him yet, but Christian Gonzalez is probably going to be considered one of the top 5 corners in the league by the time the season's over.
There you go. That's a good point, too.
He is. Like, he makes every single, like, elite wide receiver that he goes against work for everything. It's not an easy path for them. And he was on Garrett Wilson that entire game.
I also think that Carolina is going to throw the ball way more than the Jets are going to throw the ball. I don't think the Jets need to do a whole lot to beat Denver, although they might want to Nathan Hackett ram it right down Denver's throat and score 60 points. Who knows? But I think that Cincinnati is probably keeping up with Carolina, if not leading them for the majority of that game. So I think Dalton seeking revenge just keeps chucking it Deontay's way. So they're back-to-back in my rankings. I don't think you can go wrong here, but I'm going to take DJ.
I will also take Deontay Johnson. That's tough, though. Start 1, Sutton. Yoshivas, yep. Pierce. Oh, Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce is like top 20 wide receiver right now, I think, in fantasy.
Interesting. Air yards are something like 25 yards per catch, which is insane.
But he's perfectly built for that.
I don't think he's only caught 3 passes though, but they've all been like 65 yards.
Yeah, he's like the Rashid Shaheed of the AFC.
I'm going to go Yoshivas here. I think Sutton's going to get Sauce Gardner and totally eliminated in that realm. I don't trust Pierce to catch another big home run. So Yoshivas, Burrow's been looking for him. He's used him in the red zone a couple times. He scored the last couple of weeks. I think he's sort of a totally different type of receiver, but I think he's the Tyler Boyd replacement per target.
That'd be better.
Yeah, I think so. But I think, with Gesicki there,
I guess.
With Gesicki and Yoshivas, Higgins, and Chase, that's a lot to deal with. Plus Zach Moss catching footballs. But I do see Andre Yoshivas being the best of these 3 guys this week.
I will agree with you on that one. I was going to say Sutton until I thought about the matchup because he kind of got it going last week a little bit. But that matchup is horrible for him. I have Chris Godwin in one league and Mike Evans in the other. I hope he lights it up with both receivers. Definitely could. I mean, he could.
Yeah, if anybody can, that offense is built for it. So
for sure.
I like that.
There's another one of these freaking things.
Is there a way to block it?
Yeah, you can. And then this one's like not letting me. All game on streaming. I don't even know what that. It's like an error occurred. Try refreshing the page. I can't refresh.
Just forget it. We'll just skip them.
I can't delete them one by one. It's just like it's not letting me. That's crazy. Last spot. Would you start Olave, Waddle, or Jacoby Meyer?
I'm still on Olave here. I think if the Saints are going to put him out there, I'm going to go with him. I have Jacoby Myers significantly over Waddle this week, though. So if I was worried about Olave, I would go Myers over Waddle.
Yeah, I'm going Olave here. It'd be Olave, Myers, and then Waddle for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Jacoby as a Patriot fan.
Hey, you guys made a good choice. You got Juju for four snaps instead.
Thank you for reminding me. Anthony Richardson or Justin Fields? This is Justin Fields for me.
Me too. I do not like it because I have a lot of Anthony Richardson in, but I have Fields in the top 12 and I don't have Richardson in there. 0
AR. Just did not think he was a good passer. That was my problem. And last year, it's like I know he had a good couple weeks in fantasy, but it's like that's too small of a sample size to be judging the whole year on for people. But I don't know.
Hey, Bryce Young's had a couple of good weeks in fantasy too, and we all know.
Yeah, but they were all at the very end of the year.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Sit one. Chuba, Deontay, Tyreek. Chuba for me.
I'm sitting Tyreek.
Whew. Daniel Cap says, thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Chris asks, start 2, PPR, Akers, Ford, Shakir, Higgins.
Start 2, PPR, Akers, Ford, Shakir, and Higgins. I am starting both wide receivers.
I am starting Akers and Shakir.
Akers is going to break a heart again this week. You realize that, right?
I don't think he will. I think he'll.
Okay.
Well, here's our takes then. You bad week for Akers. I got a good week. We'll see.
Well, eventually we'll be even Steven, I'm sure.
Last week was okay. He kind of got you 12 points. 13 points or something like that. That's good for a backup running back to get in.
He got you that because of the touchdown, but he scored.
That's all that matters.
It is. It doesn't matter how. It's how many. So I agree.
True. I'm going to put this next question up. I'm going to refresh my page and see if it'll let me delete all these because it's kind of hard to filter through all these with this freaking thing on here. I already got it up here for you. So I'm going to refresh and see if it'll let me.
Okay. We might disappear here, but let's see what happens. All right. I don't know if you guys can hear me or see me. This is fun. Anthony comes back, says, I've already asked, but just realized Love is playing. So Wilson, Deontay Johnson, or Reed. So I don't know if I stayed on without you there or not, but
I think so. Rick's left before and it's worked.
With Jordan Love back, am I going to go with Wilson, Deontay, or Reed? I'm staying with Deontay Johnson here. I have him slightly ahead of Wilson. I don't think Reed plays enough of the snaps. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think he's comes off field a little bit too much. But I'm so high on Deontay Johnson this week. There's not much. There's only 9 guys I have above him, so it's him for me.
Yeah, so we come into the issue of Deontay Johnson's going to be not going to demand, but he's going to get more targets today, and Jaden Reed can do more with less targets, right? So, what do we pick our poison? What poison do we pick? Do we just pick the sure thing and more targets, which is I think both you and I's typical mode of thinking there, which is why I am going to choose Deontay Johnson here. But I do love Jaden Reed this week. I mean, he's a huge. The upgrade all of the receivers see when Jordan Love is back there is huge. So I really, really like him this week. But Deontay Johnson with no Adam Thielen, Andy Dalton looking sharp. Panthers going to be in situations where they got to throw the ball the entire game probably. He's just too perfect of a guy to have to not start almost every week until proven otherwise. So
totally.
Yep.
I'm very, very interested in that Vikings-Packers game for obvious reasons, but I'm also interested to see what Jordan Love looks like. I think he's come back a wee bit early, but I'm not a doctor.
Yep. Y'all going Shakir or Ford? We're probably both going Mr. Shakir.
I'm going Shakir.
I got to delete all these manually, one by one. Super annoying, but all right. Any chance Mike McDaniels works magic and turns Huntley into something? Would have to drop Eric All or Deontay Foreman? What is your QB option right now, Jaws?
I need to know what kind of format this is. So if it's a redraft league, I'm going to drop Eric All rather easily. If it's any form of dynasty or keeper, I'm not. I think Huntley can run a little bit. I don't remember seeing him play a ton in the past, but I think he's got a little bit more mobility. So that might be something for McDonald to play around with. But I don't know. I don't think McDonald is that magical. So I'd love to see my other QB options to Bryce's point.
Well, here's the other thing. Could Tua come back in 3 weeks or 2.5 or whatever after what?
He
3 days
could.
From today?
I think he could for sure.
Right. Obviously he's got something where he can just be easily concussed because people take bigger hits than that all the time.
I get it.
Don't be concussed, but
right, and it's a freak thing, and it can happen to anybody. And concussions affect one person way differently than they do another. But I will say, we all thought Brandon Cooks was finished, right? When he had 2 or 3 in pretty short order, and he hasn't had one since, and he's played 2 or 3 years since. Now, I get it. It's a totally different position than the quarterback position. The quarterback takes into account there's the possibility of getting hit on every single play. So,
right.
But yes, I think Tua can come back. I don't think he's gone. If he was gone, he'd be gone already. So,
yeah. This is see if he put anything here to give us a little context. Dynasty, he has one QB. He already has Goff and T-Law, likely cutting Russell Wilson too. I would just leave that dude then on the bench or waiver wire.
If you have all that, I'm not dropping anything to pick up Huntley, who may or may not get you a win this week. Again, we've talked about it in the previous.
You're not starting him over Jared Goff anyway in one QB. So,
although Jared Goff's been kind of lackluster, but yes, you're not.
Yeah. Half or flex half PPR. Walker, Monday Night Football, Addison, or Odunze.
I'm probably Walker here.
Yeah,
I like Odunze. I would definitely have Odunze over Addison this week, though.
I imagine Walker's 100% too. Why bring him back when Charbonnet's getting the job done unless you're 100%? So
and you're 3-0, so you're not rushing him back for anything, right? The Seahawks are playing well. If he's ready to go, he's ready to go.
Oh, the Seahawks are undefeated?
Yeah.
Jeez.
There's a few interesting undefeated teams.
Good evening. Debo or Garrett Wilson? And since Debo's back, is Jennings worth starting?
It's Garrett Wilson here for me, and we've talked about it a few different times that I think, depending upon your roster, Juwan Jennings definitely has flex appeal.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Definitely Garrett Wilson. Kelsey or Laporte, a full PPR? 2 disappointing tight ends so far this year.
Kelsey. I think this might be the week.
Yeah, Taylor Swift might leave him if he doesn't do something.
Just because Laporte is a little banged up. That's the only reason.
Yeah, but you did say it was going to be a shootout.
I did. Didn't say it was going to be a tight end shootout, though.
It's true. Waddle, Sutton, or Doubs? Full PPR.
Oh my gosh. I need to look at this one, and I have a feeling you're not going to like my answer.
It's not Sutton, right? Matchup's terrible. Sutton's a wide receiver where we can take the matchup into account a little more than usual. Doubs on the field a lot. Man, I can't really blame you if you want to go him over Waddle, but I will shoot for Waddle. I'll choose the better wide receiver in this situation over the better quarterback.
Yeah, it's Romeo Doubs for me.
I can't blame it. Like it's not. I can't even argue against it.
Waddle is my 53rd ranked wide receiver this week.
GZP.
That's how bad it's easily.
You got to believe the Vikings freaking best team in the league right now.
Well,
even Bill Belichick said, people overlook. Not that they did overlook the Vikings. I did. You don't have to say that. People were overlooking the Vikings. He's like they're playing really good football right now. So and
Sam Darnold. I thought Sam Darnold was going to have a decent season. I didn't think Sam Darnold would be leading the league in touchdown passes after 3 weeks. I liked Brian Flores last year. He got a lot out of a pretty lackluster group, and he's doing it again this year. So I'm not going to say they're the best team in football because they're not, but they're incredibly well coached, and the players are all in. So hopefully we get one more.
Sometimes you don't have to be the best team in football. You just have to be the best. You have to be talent-wise, but they seem to be the best football team. Like they're just playing together. Like it's them and the Bills, right? I mean, they're looking like the two most impressive teams in the league.
Yeah, I think you just have to be the best team for 60 minutes. You don't have to be the best team for 6 months, right? Like I think that in those situations, will can beat skill sometimes, and the Vikings are just flying right now. So I just really want to win today. I hate the Packers, obviously, so this would be the one I want more than ever.
And it'd probably be the one you lose. I don't wish that upon you. I don't care. I just say it. That's just how it always works. Palmer, Torch. Who should I drop?
Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer's really. I thought he'd step up this year, and he looks like the number 3 option now on that roster.
They just don't throw the football, right? Like they just don't throw it enough. And QJ looks like he's playing better. Lad McConkey looks like he's going to be more of a target.
Pretty good. Yep. Is today's not Herbert either? Is it?
It is Herbert, but
is it? Okay.
It is Herbert. Well. But it could very well be Heineke again after that. So
should have dropped Tolbert Thursday. Malik Washington in the IR spot, possibly coming back Monday, has me thinking about dropping Demarcus Robinson, which to keep in Dynasty.
Sorry, dealing with something there. Should have dropped Tolbert Thursday. Malik IR. I'm definitely keeping Tolbert and Malik Washington over Demarcus Robinson in a dynasty format. So if you need to get rid of a player, then I would. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see any of those 3 players ever being valuable for you in a dynasty situation, but I guess, I would drop Demarcus Robinson out of the 3.
Starting to think Tolbert has taken Cooks' spot in
a little bit.
So
Dallas is going to address their wide receiver too this next offseason.
I have way too many shares of Brandon Cooks that look like they're turning into a turd. So
I mean, he's older. At some point, he had to be useless, right? In fact, fantasy-wise, don't want to say it like as a player, but yeah. Hate to sit Richardson. Is he like putting it? I guess shit on him. I don't know. Drafting him quite high. Would you start Sam Darnold over him? In a heartbeat, I would. I wouldn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, I have Sam ranked higher than Richardson this week.
Yeah, I don't know what the stars are.
I don't even want to go there. I think it's
good morning, guys. This is where we're at. Mark Andrews or Zach Ertz. Whew, I'm so glad I avoided Mark Andrews in every format ever this year. Oh, what a not to brag on some of you guys that didn't, but whew.
This is going to sound ridiculous and preposterous, but it is easily Zach Ertz for me.
I am avoiding Mark Andrews like the plague, and I have been, and I'm glad I am.
The problem Mark Andrews has, there's a ton of them, but one of the biggest problems right now is he's on the field a lot, but he's not running routes. So he's the Colts offense holy the Colts. The Ravens offensive line's got, I think it's 2 or 3 rookies on it, and they're not exactly killing it right now. So he's staying in to help block, and likely he's running the routes. So it's crazy and it's mind-numbing and it's stupid, but it's Zach Ertz for me.
You know what? I would avoid him like the plague, but I can't avoid him over Zach Ertz. I'll just start him over Zach Ertz and hope that he has to get utilized a little more. 30% snap count. That's got it. There's no way that stays like that. If it does, if it happens again this week, then Mark Andrews is something to be really, really, really concerned about. But I'll start him this week in hopes that he has a bounce back week. I don't know. That is one of the strangest things that's happening in the NFL this year. The Mark Andrews usage. I don't know. Maybe there's something that we don't know.
Well, he did have a car accident during training camp, and he was out of the lineup for a while. He obviously didn't miss any games, but maybe there's something going on that he's not 100%.
But apparently it was a big thing in like an interview that he said it's like the first time in like since he got drafted or whatever that he's felt 100% healthy again. Like, I don't know.
He needs to go pull or tweak something then because he's way better than he wasn't.
Yeah, I guess so.
Ridiculous.
Start 2.
He's just not involved.
Yeah, it is weird. Start 2, Pittman, Waddle, D-Hop, Jamison Williams. Also Fields or Purdy. So out of these wide receivers, bunch of guys that we'd be excited about preseason, answering question about, and now it's like, oh.
I'm going to start Pittman and Williams. Ugh.
Pittman and Williams for me as well.
And I'm starting Fields over Purdy.
I am also going to start Fields over Purdy. Give me the guy that's got the rushing upside. He hasn't even been
100%.
utilized as a running quarterback that much, but he kind of does in the red zone. So that's always a huge bonus. That's an extra 2 points and then whatever yards he gets as well.
Have we seen the last of Russell Wilson?
No. I think we'll see him get traded this year. I do think that.
Think Miami picks him up?
He could. That'd be a good spot for him. That'd be a great spot for him. What is another team? The Raiders could be a decent spot for him.
Yeah.
Why not?
I want.
Why not?
I desperately want the Dolphins to trade for Trey Lance. You get him for absolutely nothing and give him a shot.
Why not? Yeah.
That's probably a reason I'm not a GM, but that's what I'd like to see happen.
But you know what sort of? I mean, you did just extend to us, so you're going to hope his brain's not scrambled eggs. But
yep. But at the end of the day, you got to put somebody on the field, and I still don't think Trey Lance got a fair shot. I'm still not sure he's any good, but he got 2 starts and hurt his ankle, and that was it, right?
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Follow up to my flex question, and Najee over DJ Moore. Does Isaacs? Who the hell is that?
So that's got to be a defensive player that plays against Debo. Hang on.
Debo, you mean DJ Moore? I don't know. It's Najee for me. Because it was half PPR. Is the half PPR question. I'm pretty sure it was. Because I originally took DJ Moore, and then I didn't realize Warren was out. Ooh, I have to make sure I have that in a league. Okay. Yeah, I'll stick with Najee, so it does not change my answer.
Pittsburgh Steelers offensive guard.
Oh.
And that's a good question, but no, obviously I don't know much about the gentleman. I had to Google him. That said, like I said before, the Colts have given up over 150 yards to a running back twice already this season. And Najee's going to get a lot of touches and play very well. I'll go so far as to say Cordell Patterson wouldn't be the worst plug and play guy if you're super desperate this week.
Akers, Ramondre or Dobbins? Pick one.
Ramondre.
Yeah, Ramondre as well. Definitely the worst touchdown upside out of these 3, though.
Mm-hmm. And
Tyreek with a tough matchup and questionable QB or T. Thanks, guys. Non-PPR.
Higgins for me.
Tyreek for me.
We get it.
I can't bench Tyreek Hill. Blowing up on your bench is going to piss you off way more than him.
Well, don't get me wrong. He's in my lineups. I don't have where I have him.
Luxury. You don't have the luxury.
I don't have a T Higgins as an option. If I have to pick between the two of them, it's T Higgins this week.
Fair enough. Just in, Bucky Irving is healthy and playing. He must have put an emoji there that didn't pop up for us. Dynasty, 1 QB, have Goff and T-Law. Oh, that was the one where he was talking about Tyler Huntley. Holy crap, we have a ton of questions.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll have to go quickly on this. What's up, guys? Yeah, Bucky Irving is nice. I think he ends up taking over that role by the end of the season. Makes that situation kind of shitty moving forward for this season, though. What's up, guys? Greeting from Germany. What's up, Jonas? Got 2 Germans in here. Start 2 full PPR. Keon Coleman, Xavier Legette, Bucky Irving, Demario Douglas, and Richardson or Rogers. Got a really tight matchup. Here's the questions I like to see.
Right?
Demario Douglas, number 1 for me here.
I think he has to be just because he's the only guy that can do anything there.
Yep. Middle of the field target monster for sure.
And I'm going to lean into the thing I said earlier about Xavier Legette. I think he's the number 2 there, so that's where I'm going to lean in.
Yep. I want to hear the post-game interview with him too.
Yeah, right. That gets awesome. That's close between Bucky and Leggett for me. And then Richardson or Rogers, it's Rogers.
Yeah, I know the matchup's not the most ideal with the Broncos secondary being decent, but
you've got to think that
did you see him last week? He looked so freaking good last week.
I hate him so much. And he looks so good.
I don't hate Aaron Rodgers. I think he's
I'm a lifelong Vikings fan. Like, what am I
But he's probably just such a cool dude to talk to.
Oh, I think everybody hates him. You see when he pushed Saleh?
Yeah, but then after the thing, he said 2 scores. Like it was, I think it was like a serious joke between them because
I thought it was pretty funny. There was someone out there that was like, they just said that they're one big happy family, and Rodgers thought they meant his family because he's estranged from his own family, so that's why he was treating him like family. But anyway, I think Nathaniel Hackett, because he was in Denver and all that stuff that Peyton came out and basically told him he was a garbage coach, that I think the Jets are going to try to just score 75 points today. So, and Anthony Richardson's a mess. So I'm going to go with Rodgers.
Who you sitting out of these 4? It's easy for me. Wow, I know you've been shitting on Tyreek Hill all day today. I got Tyreek Hill. We're off on Tyreek Hill and Cam Akers. So those are the 2 matchups we need to be watching today. Because we are not agreeing on those 2.
I'm sitting Jennings. I'm not that down on Hill, but it's just not far off it. If Debo was out, I'd be sitting Hill out of that list.
I think I'd still be sitting Juwan Jennings.
I know.
Someone just dropped CJ Stroud in my league. Should I pick him up and stash? I have Allen and Daniels from Washington. Oh my goodness.
I would pick him up. I don't care if it's 1 QB or not. I think you do.
For sure, you could at least trade.
He's got to be better
one of those quarterbacks. You got to trade
better than the worst bench spot on your team right now.
You got to trade Allen or Daniels if it's a 1 quarterback, unless it's a dynasty. I mean, even if it's not a dynasty, or CJ Stroud wouldn't be on the waiver wire. So it's got to be a redraft league.
So it's a redraft league, and you pick up Stroud. Who are you trading?
I'm keeping Josh Allen out of all these.
Me too, but I think I'm going to try to trade Daniels pretty hard.
Easily
last week.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, and then you have CJ Stroud for your backup. Thank you, sir. Coleman and Bucky and Rogers. Oh, he went way off of us. Well, we went. Who'd we go again? We went to Mario.
I went Rogers. We both went Rogers. I think he just
Mario Douglas.
He went to Mario Douglas and Bucky. Yeah, and I was very close to Bucky with Legette. So
yeah, Coleman's going to be way too inconsistent for me.
He's got to score. He's useless.
He has to score. Yeah, he's touchdown dependent. Do you guys think that Debo will just be a decoy this week? I don't think players go out on the field to be decoys.
I don't think, and I agree with that. And I don't think Shanahan has used him coming back from injury like that in the past. He's usually just stayed on the sidelines. So, you're the Niners. You got to win this one, right? Like all this, you somehow peed down your leg and blew that game last week against the Rams. You got to win this football game, and I think that's
if they lose this week. If they lose this week against New England, they're in some really deep shit.
They're in Cincinnati territory, right? Yeah,
I'd be upset if they lost, if they lost to New England. I want to see Drake May at this point, and the only way we don't is if we win this week. I think.
Yeah, I think I'd still want Brissett to play a couple more, but that's just me.
Probably, but and that's fine. That's still fine. But if they win this week, that is going to delay Drake May But Drake May's going to play this week. There's
Do we still have a lot of questions? We got to go here fast, eh?
Oh yeah, pick up. Oh yeah. No.
Okay.
Not too much. Not too much. There's a lot of people talking in the chat. Luckily, pick up Wilson, Atwell, Bateman, Douglas, or Wicks for Palmer. Douglas for me. Yeah.
Which Wilson is that?
Oh, if it's Michael Wilson, then it's Michael Wilson.
Well, it can't be Garrett, right?
No, it can't be Garrett.
Picking up? So these guys are all on the waiver wire?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I'd still want Douglas rest of season. Yeah, I do. Because even when Drake May did go in there, he targeted Douglas a ton.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, if I'll take the upside, especially if what are likely bench players for most of the season.
Would you drop Palmer for all those guys?
Yes, every single one of them. Well, man, I don't know about Atwell.
That's the only
one. Bateman, not really useful for me as well. But I would definitely look up for Wicks, Wilson, or Douglas over them easily. Start 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Moss, Mason, Walker, Jacobs. So we got Mason for sure, right? What's the other running? Walker. Okay, I agree. Then we got Godwin, Rice, Cooper, Sutton. So we got Rice and then Godwin. So we got 1 flex over Moss, Cooper, Jacobs.
Maybe it's Moss.
No,
so it's between Moss and Cooper for me. For my flex.
It's Cooper for me. But if you wanted a safer play, Moss is easily a safer play.
I'm gonna go with Zach Moss, but Amari Cooper made me look really stupid last
week. I think about it. That game could be a shootout. It's just so strange to think.
A Raider game?
No, Moss plays the
Panthers Bengals.
Yeah,
but I think the Raiders and the Browns could be a shootout too.
It could be odd shootouts. Man,
right?
Give me Amari Cooper still. Give me Amari Cooper.
Okay. It's obviously close. We're split.
Johnny's helping us answer questions in here, which is great because if we disagree, you can refer to his answer as a tiebreaker.
What are you doing next week, Johnny?
He went with Mason, Walker, like us, Godwin and Rice, which is us, and then he flexed either Jacobs or Sutton. So never mind. He doesn't help at all with the flex spot. But I do like Jacobs too, but not Sutton. Sutton has Sauce Gardner today.
EFL, European League Football. Is that what that is?
He honestly didn't even have a bad season last year, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, pretty good season.
Statistically. Yeah, I know. He's just getting shit on.
His coach is an asshole and hated him, so he's gone.
PPR pick 2, Walker, Rashad White, or Akers. Here you go. Are you going to be forced to pick Akers now?
Nope. I'll take White and Walker.
No, I will take the Akers Walker. There you go. You got him.
Cam Akers is going to run for 140 and score 4 touchdowns today.
I'm just going to send you a GIF or GIF, whatever you call it. Moss or Ford? Moss.
Yeah.
Murray or Lamar?
Lamar, but they're both top 4.
Yeah, Lamar's just got more.
5.
Weird saying it, but Lamar does have more rushing upside than Murray. Pick 2, Achane, James Cook, Jacobs, Henry, Brian Robinson, Hubbard. Wow.
Cooking Achane for me.
Cooking Achane for me as well.
You
got to take the ones that have the PPR upside. Brian Robinson Jr. is 3 for me.
I think I have Derrick Henry ahead of him this week, but yeah, I agree. Man, where do you get all those running backs?
He picked Ford over Moss. We're not agreeing on anything.
I'm telling you, he's got to be your co-host next week.
I know. It'd be fun. Terry, Ayuk, or JSN? Terry. Another Bryce. We have 3 Bryces.
That's incredible.
This one's peak. Start 3. I know, and I don't know any other Bryces. Start 3. ETN, Najee, Pickens, Reed. Who are we sitting here? This is easy for me.
I'm sitting Pickens.
I am also sitting Pickens. If Russell Wilson was the quarterback, I don't think I would.
I don't think Pickens is very good, and it's just my take.
I think he's very good. He can make every catch. He's just not getting utilized right.
So it's Michael Wilson, and they all know. Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
That's the offense. That's the offense in Pittsburgh, though, right? Like,
yeah. Like I said, I think if
Arthur Smith to a T.
I think if Russell was the quarterback, it'd be a little bit different for him because he wouldn't be running as much. I think he would be running a little bit less because I think he would trust Russell's arm a little bit more.
That's fair.
Who do I start? Olave, Ayuk, Garrett Wilson, full PPR, wide receiver 2.
Normally I'd be Olave, but I think I'm going to lean to Garrett Wilson here just in case Olave re-aggravates that hamstring.
I would normally be Garrett Wilson here, and I'm going to stay with Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
And that's just quarterback play. Good morning, Bryce. What's up, Mr. Scampers?
Mr. Scampers, welcome in, sir.
I have to listen back. Johnny said he's always ready for football. Chuba or JSN? Flex, PPR.
Chuba.
JSN. It's close. It's European
League of football. That's what I thought.
Turpin from the Cowboys played there like 2 years ago. Huh.
Nice.
Ayuk or Jennings for today's fantasy? It's got to be Ayuk.
It is.
Yeah. Everybody's back, right?
It's closer than normal. But
wow. That's the thing. The Debo decoy doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why do you need a decoy when Jawan Jennings just did what he did last week? Right.
Totally agree. That's why I don't think he is either.
PPR, Emmanuel Wilson or Mostert with a Tyler Boyd pivot if he doesn't play tomorrow.
Man, Emmanuel Wilson looks good. Like he ran all over the Eagles in week 1 when Jacobs looked like crap.
He's got people to forget about their rookie they drafted.
Right. And again, last week he had a better week than Jacobs. So they're both in tough today, but I find that backup running backs seem to do better in games where the starter struggles because they just see different box alignments and things like that. But I'll be Wilson over Mostert here. I don't know. Mostert's I don't know what his role is coming back.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Mostert. I think if he comes back again, it's kind of a similar situation to Walker. Why bring him back if he's not 100% healthy? So get him back in here, and maybe he gets a little bit of a. They're going to run that game through the run game. So
they have to, yeah.
They're going to utilize Mostert. I think maybe in the red zone as well. So I'll take Mostert over the backup running back. Well, I guess they're both backup running backs, right? Full PPR. Jonathan Taylor or Hubbard? We're about Taylor against Pitt. No thanks. I will take Taylor easily here.
No doubt about it.
Which I'm sure could be definitely the wrong answer at the end of the games today, but
that could always be there's always a situation, right? But the process should supersede the results, and the fact that Jonathan Taylor's a stud. I'm gonna sit there.
He made a beautiful cut last week to score that touchdown. I mean, it was a great run. Makes you remember why he was considered one of the best.
There you go. There we go.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know. We have to talk to the boss man. And Harry, that's a tough one. Hard to sit, JT. Yeah, I can't sit him. But Hubbard could have a big day against the Cincinnati defense, which is definitely 100% possible. All right, 12:50. That gives us 10 minutes to fix our lineups. I love it. Perfect. That's all I need.
Nice.
12,
awesome.
12 leagues, 10 minutes.
A minute a league.
We'll get it done. And then one more question, then we'll get out of here. Hey, thoughts on this Dynasty Superflex 16 trade? Dak and a mid 2025 first for AR and a 2027 first. Give me Dak in the first next year.
I think so. Normally, if you'd asked me this question last week, I probably would have leaned to the AR side, but Dak helps me now and in the future. AR might not help me at all in either. And 2027 is a long way to wait. So
2027 is Jeremiah Smith's draft class.
There you go.
But you can't hope that you get that number 1 pick because it's looking like he is going to be the number 1 guy. And there's that wide receiver from Alabama who is also disgusting. But you can look at 2027 picks next year or even the year after. So
I don't even know if I'm going to make it to 26, let alone 27. So give me Dak.
You could be. You might not be alive then. Who knows?
There you go. Little man. Oh, here goes another.
I don't look that far. I barely look a week ahead. My QB situation is terrible. Watson or Williams. Give me Caleb Williams.
Yep. Don't worry about it. Richardson's going to snap back this week. He's going to run a bit. So we'll see. But
we're sitting him. We chose to sit him all day.
We did.
Enjoy your guys' Sunday football. Good luck in your matchups, guys. I wish you luck unless you're playing me, of course. So
thanks for being here, everyone. Peace.
Yep. And I will see you next week. Sully will be back the week after.
100%.
Later, guys.